Characters List of Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer. In Geoffrey Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales, 32 characters make the trip to Canterbury. 29 of these are mentioned in line 24 of the general prologue. The narrator joins this group, making 30. The host, Harry Bailey, makes 31. The canon's yeoman, who joins the group later, makes 32. The host, or Harry Bailey, the proprietor of the tabard inn where the pilgrims to Canterbury stay before beginning their journey. He accompanies the pilgrims on their journey. It is the host who devised the scheme of the tales, proposing that each tell 2 tales on the way to Canterbury, and he frequently mediates arguments between pilgrims and suggests who shall tell the next story. He has a bit of a class complex, and can be seen regularly toadying up to the upper class and higher status characters. The knight, a noble fighter who served in the Crusades. He travels with his son, the squire. The knight tells the first tale, a romantic tale of a love triangle between 2 knights and a woman they both love. The squire, a lusty bachelor of 20, the squire is the son of the knight, and the only pilgrim other than Chaucer stated as having literary ambitions. He can well. He tells an interrupted tale concerning the gifts that a mysterious knight brings to the court of Tartary. The knight's yeoman, the yeoman is the second servant who travels with the knight. He does not tell a tale. The prioress, a delicate, sentimental woman, the prioress weeps over any small tragedy such as the death of a mouse. She attempts to appear refined, but her refinement is superficial. Her tale concerns the murder of a small child at the hands of Jews who loathe the child for singing about the Virgin Mary. The second nun, the secretary to the prioress, the second nun tells as her tale the biography of Saint Cecilia. The monk, a robust and masculine man, the monk travels with the prioress and second nun. The friar, Hubert, he is an immoral man concerned largely with profit rather than turning men away from sin. His tale is an attack on the wickedness of summoners. The merchant, he is an arrogant man obsessed with profit margins. His story is a comic tale concerning an elderly blind man who takes a young wife who proves unfaithful. The clerk is a student at Oxford, and his lack of an actual profession leaves him impoverished. Although educated, his intellectual pursuits have left him virtually unemployable. He tells a tale of the humble Griseld, who marries a man of high status who cruelly tests her devotion to him. The man of law, the lawyer, tells a religiously inspired tale concerning Constance, a woman who suffers a number of tragedies but is at each turn saved by her devotion to her Christian beliefs. The Franklin, he travels with the man of law. The Franklin is a man who takes delight in all simple pleasures, most prominently culinary ones. His story is that of a woman who promises to have an affair with a man if he can save her husband. The weaver, one of the 5 guildsmen who travel with the pilgrims to Canterbury, the weaver does not tell a tale. The dyer, one of the 5 guildsmen who travel with the pilgrims to Canterbury, the dyer does not tell a tale. The carpenter, one of the 5 guildsmen who travel with the pilgrims to Canterbury, he does not tell a tale. The tapestry maker, one of the 5 guildsmen who travel with the pilgrims to Canterbury, he does not tell a tale. The haberdasher, one of the 5 guildsmen who travel with the pilgrims to Canterbury, he does not tell a tale. The cook, a lewd and vulgar man, the cook often engages in violent and contentious behavior. He tells a tale that appears to be a fablio. However, this tale does not exist in a completed form. The shipman, he tells the tale of a woman who agrees to have an affair with a monk who will pay her so that she can repay a debt to her husband, but this monk ultimately borrows this money from the husband himself. The physician tells a tale about a father who, in order to protect his daughter from scoundrels who contrive to rape her, murders his daughter. The wife of Bath, the most ostentatious of the travellers, the wife of Bath has been married 5 times and is currently searching for another man to marry. The wife of Bath is opinionated and boisterous, and her tale, which centers around the question "what do women want?" promotes her view that women wish to have authority over men. The parson is a man devoted to his congregation, decent and principled. His tale is a long dissertation on the definition of sin and its various forms. The miller, a large man with an imposing physique, the miller is rude and contemptuous of his fellow travelers. His tale is a comic story of a devious student who contrives to have an affair with the wife of a dim-witted carpenter. The manciple, also trained in the law, the manciple tells a fable that attributes the dark appearance and unpleasant sound of crows to the actions of a white crow who told the god Phoebus of his wife's infidelity. The reeve, a slender man with a fiery temper, he tells a tale in response to the miller's tale. His tale concerns a villainous miller who is humiliated by 2 Oxford students. The summoner, the profession of the summoner is to issue summons for people to appear in front of the church court, and in this the summoner is quite unfair. He tells a tale in response to the friar's diatribe against summoners that parodies the friar's profession. The pardoner, an effeminate and shamelessly immoral man, the pardoner is intensely self-loathing yet devoted to his task of defrauding people of their money by making them believe that they have sinned and need to buy pardons. His tale is an allegory about 3 rioters who find death through their avarice. The pardoner uses this tale as an attempt to sell pardons to the company, but is silenced by the host. The canon, a mysterious and threatening figure, he and his yeoman are not original travellers with the pilgrims to Canterbury. They seek out the party when they learn about the tales that they have been telling. When the canon's yeoman reveals too much about his master's profession, the canon suddenly disappears. The canon's yeoman, the assistant to the canon, he speaks openly about his master's tricks as an alchemist, prompting the canon to leave the pilgrims. The yeoman then admits that he regrets the deceptions of his master, and tells a tale that details the methods of a canon's fraud. Arcite, Theban knight who is imprisoned in Athens but released on the intervention of his friend Pirithous, he and his friend Palamon both fall in love with Emily. He prays to Mars for aid in his duel with Palamon for Emily, and although he wins the battle, he suddenly is killed in an earthquake upon his victory. Palamon, Theban knight who is imprisoned in Athens. Both he and Arcite fall in love with Emily. Before the duel for her hand in marriage, Palamon prays to Venus, the goddess of love, to win Emily as a wife. Although he loses the battle, he wins Emily as a wife when Arcite dies. Emily, the sister of Hippolyta, she is a pawn within the struggle between Arcite and Palamon, both who have fallen in love with her. Although she wishes to remain chaste in honor of the goddess, Diana, she accepts that she must marry one of the 2 knights. Theseus, the king of Athens, he wages war upon Thebes in response to the injustice of the Theban king, and imprisons Arcite and Palamon. He sets the rules and regulations of their duel for Emily. Hippolyta, the queen of Scythia, she is the husband of Theseus, king of Athens, and the sister of Emily. Pirithous, a prince and childhood friend of Theseus, he intervenes to have Arcite released from prison on the condition that he never return to Athens. Lycurgus, the king of Thrace, he fights with Palamon during his duel with Arcite. Amitreus, the king of India, he fights with Arcite during his duel with Palamon. John, an oafish carpenter, he is an older man who marries the much younger Alison. He foolishly believes Nicholas' prediction that a second great flood is coming, and hides in a kneading bucket on his roof in preparation for it. Alison, the crafty wife of John the carpenter, Alison is much younger than her husband. She has an affair with Nicholas, a boarder who stays with her and her husband. Nicholas, an Oxford student who boards with John and Alison, Nicholas claims to study astronomy. He comes up with the fantastic Fablio Noah's Ark trick which makes up most of the plot of the tale. Absolon, a delicate, courtly lover who pursues Alison, he is a skilled musician and an unabashed romantic. He suffers humiliation at the hands of Alison, but gets revenge on Nicholas. Symkyn, a vulgar, dishonest, and foolish miller, Symkyn repeatedly cheats his customers out of grain. He receives his comeuppance when two Cambridge students that he has cheated seduce his wife and daughter, then steal their grain back from him. Aileen, a Cambridge student who seduces the miller's daughter, Molly, when he and John stay at the miller's house. John, too, a Cambridge student who seduces the miller's wife when he and Aileen stay at the miller's house. Molly, the daughter of the miller, she is a somewhat unattractive young woman, yet Aileen nevertheless seduces her when the two students stay at the miller's home. Constance, the daughter of the Roman emperor, she is given to be married to the Sultan of Syria after he agrees to convert to Christianity. But when his mother opposes this, she narrowly escapes an assassination attempt and ends up in England, where she marries King Allah. After escaping treachery once more, Constance is sent back to Rome. She is a devoted Christian whose faith aids her throughout all of her travails. The Sultan, the King of Syria, he agrees to convert to Christianity to marry Constance, but his actions infuriate his mother, who has him assassinated. The Sultana, villainous mother of the Sultan, she refuses to convert from Islam on the orders of her son and plots his assassination. Dame Hermengild, the wife of the warden of the Northumberland region where Constance lands in England, she converts to Christianity through the influence of Constance. A devious knight murders her to frame Constance. The warden, the husband of Dame Hermengild, he watches over the castle of Northumberland while King Allah is at war. He converts to Christianity along with his wife. King Allah, the English king of Northumberland, he marries Constance but is separated from her because of the machinations of his mother, Lady Dungild. Lady Dungild, the treacherous mother of King Allah, she contrives to have Constance and her child banished from England. King Allah murders her for her evil actions. Mauritius, the son of King Allah and Constance, he becomes the Emperor of Rome when Constance's father realizes his royal lineage. Jankin, the fifth husband of the wife of Bath, he was much younger than she and prone to reading misogynist religious texts that offended his wife. When he heard her out of anger, he realized his error and submitted to her authority, after which he and his wife had a perfectly happy marriage. The knight, too, after raping a young woman, the knight is sentenced to death, but spared by the queen, who decides that the knight will receive mercy if he can answer the question, "What do women want?" The loathly lady, this elderly woman, tells the knight what women really desire on the condition that he will marry her. When he grants her the authority in marriage, the old woman transforms into a beautiful young woman. The summoner, too, the summoner, who is given no proper name, is a typical representation of his profession, according to the friar. He meets the devil and shares trade secrets, and is cast into hell for his sinful behavior. Satan, introducing himself as a yeoman, he and the summoner become compatriots until he finally casts the summoner into hell. The friar, this boorish friar, is rude and presumptuous, oblivious to the conditions of Thomas and his wife, who take him in as a boarder. Although ostensibly polite and refined, the friar callously begs Thomas for money. Thomas, owner of a home where the friar stays, his infant child had recently died and he himself has taken ill. When the friar begs him for money, Thomas pays him with the gift of a fart. Griseld, a woman of low status, she marries Walter, the Marquis of Saluzzo, but is subjected to a number of trials that her husband devises to prove her worth. She handles each of these trials honorably, proving herself dedicated and steadfast in the face of any tragedy. Walter, the Marquis of Saluzzo, he is a dedicated bachelor until the people of his region insist that he takes a wife. When he marries Griseld, he subjects her to a number of trials meant to prove her worth, each of them cruel and heartless. Janicula, the father of Griseld. She returns to him after she has been cast out of her home by Walter.